When there's an entire webpage dedicated to answering the question, why do people dislike Jimmy Kimmel? You'd think the man would wise up. But it's a widely known, not so secret fact that this late night host is widely hated, unfortunately, through Hollywood. Especially by anyone who knows what Kimmel did to his first wife with Sarah Silverman. The comical pair had first met, the way all comedians do, at the New York Friars Club roast of Hugh Hefner in 2001. Kimmel was hosting and Silverman was obligated to make a joke at his expense. Bada bing, bada boom, she makes a few quips about him being fat with no charisma, and just like that got herself into Jimmy's pants and apparently his heart. The two had some tough times in 2008 and 2009. They had temporary breakups, but they kept trying and were dedicated to one another before finally calling it quits in 2009 to just be good friends. But if we backtrack to the beginning of this relationship, it had some overlap with the end of his marriage to Gina Maddie, according to Fox News. Kimmel had just started to make it big, and now he was able to hang out with the likes of many B-list celebrities, as we know from John Mulaney, Jeremy Allen White, Barry Keoghan, and countless others. The second a man starts becoming famous in Hollywood, he ditches his normal woman, wife, and kids to go hook up with other celebrities. So Kimmel became a cheater, and had a couple of casual hookups with various women and Silverman before the relationship began in 2003. A source told Fox News at the time that the relationship when it started was not only while Kimmel was still married, but it was one of the worst open secrets in Hollywood back then. As a result, Gina and Kimmel had a messy divorce over his affairs, only for him to cheat on Sarah with his next girlfriend and one-day wife, Molly McCleary. This beef starts with an ill-placed comment about an accent. Next is Sean Hannity. Hannity criticized Kimmel over a segment on the Late Night Show in which Kimmel mocked First Lady Melania Trump's accent. What could have been over and done with turned into an all-out who's the bigger D-bag contest on Twitter that probably could have been solved sooner if they put them on the table and honestly just measured. But no, the first signs of smoke are when Kimmel fired back against Hannity's criticism on Twitter, writing, "When your clown makeup rubs off on Trump's butt, does it make his butt look like a creamsicle?" In a separate tweet, Kimmel wrote, "Don't worry, just keep tweeting, you'll get back on top. Or does Trump prefer you on top?" Naturally, as much as everyone hates Hannity, plenty of Twitter users pointed out making jokes in regards to like being gay being that punchline is just very juvenile and honestly not so accepted nowadays. I don't think it should have ever been accepted, to be real with you. Some went so crazy about it they demanded Disney and ABC apologize for ever just employing Jimmy Kimmel. Hannity unleashed on Kimmel during his following Friday show and on Twitter over the weekend, calling the late night comedian a bunch of names including pig. He also called him racially biased and a bully for criticizing the First Lady. "Apologize to the First Lady and I'll stop. If not, I will never stop. Ever," Hannity vowed. Kimmel took that challenge, apologizing only to the LGBTA community for his previous jokes. Since we covered one old man who's yelling, let's do another one that beefs with Kimmel, and that's Jay Leno. Kimmel and Leno's feud stems from NBC's infamous 2010 Tonight Show shakeup. So, Leno took over Johnny Carson in 1992 and hosted until 2009, after which Conan O'Brien was given the job. Leno then hosted the newly created The Jay Leno Show, which aired earlier. After 7 months following lackluster ratings for both his new series and The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien, as well as a dispute with NBC over a proposed time slot change, Leno returned as host of The Tonight Show. O'Brien left the company and became the host of his own TBS late night series, Conan. Kimmel and Leno have traded harsh words about each other since the shakeup, since all these late night hosts divided up Avengers Civil War style. On the Awards Chatter podcast, Kimmel said he was initially a fan of his rival David Letterman, who had famously feuded with Leno over The Tonight Show as well, and it started off with a negative feeling about the issue. Which is why, I guess, we all guess really, that in 2010 Kimmel mocked Leno by impersonating him on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Also, 2 months before Leno returned to The Tonight Show, Kimmel appeared via satellite on The Jay Leno Show and joked about the shakeup. When asked, "What's the best prank you've ever pulled?" Kimmel responded, "I think the best prank I ever pulled was I told a guy that 5 years from now I'm going to give you my show, and then when the 5 years came I gave it to him and then I took it back almost instantly." Somehow, somewhere, Jimmy Kimmel is hated by Kanye West. Thanks to that time in 2013 when Jimmy, 49, sparred with West after spoofing the rapper with a kids parody. Kanye reacted with swiftness, launching into a Twitter tirade in response, calling him a lot of bad names, and also saying that he was super manipulative, and in all capitals like usual. Jimmy Kimmel is out of line to try and spoof in any way the first piece of honest media in years. He also ironically used the hashtags no disrespect to Jimmy Kimmel and all disrespect to Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy seemingly found the exchange hilarious, even making fun of the rapper's all caps rant in his response tweet. Apparently Kanye West is very angry with me. The two continuously traded barbs for the next 3 years. A few years after the 2013 feud, both parties seem to have moved on from the public debacle until Kanye went off the rails in 2022, inspiring Fallon to share some choice words about the man's support of the Cheeto Puff president. Caitlyn Jenner had a very adult conversation with Kimmel. After her transition, Jenner made the TV talk show rounds as people were eager to hear the Olympic gold medalist story, because their road to transitioning was so highly publicized and people had seen the in-between, which resulted in a lot of bad comments and questions. Comedians, and yes, people just like you, made a minor sport of ripping on the star for her hair choices, her plastic surgery, and her general comportment. And when Caitlyn came out, the phobia of those initial jokes doubled up on itself. The very thing people were laughing at Jenner for was what set her free. All that surfaced when Jenner visited the set of Jimmy Kimmel Live for the first time. In an on-air interview with Kimmel, the two briefly touched on the matter because questions about her gender had been hammered all over the media. When talking about the bashing, she added, "In fact, guys like you, making some jokes?" Making Kimmel laugh nervously, and Jenner leaning into the host, suggesting his past behavior had been less than laudable. This behavior can't come at much shock given how much Kimmel has bullied Britney. I feel like even just this one example should be enough. In 2012, Jimmy bashed then incoming X Factor judges Britney Spears and Demi Lovato, along with former judge Paula Abdul. No one knows talent like Britney Spears and Demi Lovato, Jimmy said sarcastically at a presentation for media buyers and press before taking a dig at Britney's long-running legal woes. As you know, Britney Spears has been wanting to be a judge ever since she spent the last 10 years appearing before them. This is just one event in a long series of Britney bashing that Kimmel has done. Quite a fan of victimizing the pop princess. Once in 2006, while she was dealing with her messy relationship to Kevin Federline, Spears was a surprise presenter at the AMAs and went on right after a comedy bit that featured a K-Fed lookalike being put in a box and dropped in a river. Spears is said to be upset because no one told her beforehand about the skit. Members of her camp apparently demanded that the skit be cut from the West Coast feed of the show. It wasn't, so who came up with the spoof? The host of the awards, Jimmy Kimmel. I'm told it was planned and produced long before Spears signed on. Britney was a last-second add to the show, my source says. Kimmel isn't exactly apologizing, telling LiveJournal shortly after the show, "I knew they wouldn't mind because I know they both have great senses of humor." Billie Eilish at least called him out for all this BS, only after she was heavily mocked online though. The musical queen appeared on the show the first time and had a previous agreed upon joke bit where she'd say she didn't know who Van Halen was and then Kimmel would just tease her about it. Well, when they ran through it live, he left her out to dry a little and it came across that Eilish really did not know who Van Halen was. Eilish faced endless trolling and mockery online, so much so that she came back to Kimmel's show 3 years later with a vengeance to call out what happened on stage. When the talk show host brought up the singer's bucket list she'd written back in 2014, he made a slight error, saying Eilish was 14 at the time that she wrote it when she was actually 12. The conversation gave Eilish a chance to bring up the pair's infamous 2019 interview where Kimmel quizzed her on her pop culture references that were popular back in 1984. "Wait, really quick, do you remember last time I was here and you made me look a little stupid?" Eilish asked. "I thought it was funny because I was playing along and everybody thought I was actually serious and I didn't know anything." Kimmel immediately tries to insist he didn't do it on purpose, to which Eilish responds, "I was playing along and then everybody actually thought I was serious and didn't know anything." Although Kimmel told her he didn't intend to make her look stupid on purpose, the Oscar winner got her revenge, as one of Eilish's bucket list items included punch someone, and inviting her to take a hit at his chest, which she accepted. Tyler Perry also called Kimmel on some BS while live on television when the host was making excuses for why he didn't come to his new studio's grand opening party in Atlanta. At the start of the episode, Kimmel pointed out that the last time Perry made an appearance on the show was right after he opened Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. Perry then quipped, "Yeah, that you didn't come to. And the big party I had, I remember, I'm still scarred from it. You said you would send me a gift and I still don't have the gift. Where is the gift? You didn't come. You didn't send a gift. Where's the gift?" Perry joked. Jimmy Kimmel then jokingly asked someone on set to run to the Hollywood souvenir shop next door and grab something for Perry. "I apologize for that. I don't know what I was doing. Oh, pandemic, I think. Pandemic maybe was happening," said Kimmel in response. Tyler, however, didn't buy the excuse and asserted that his opening celebration took place before the pandemic. "You knew the pandemic was coming. You were ahead of it all," said Perry. Kimmel then said he thought the invite might have been intended for the Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon. "Well, it said Jimmy Kimmel, and I did a special video to you on saying please come, so I don't know how you could have gotten that mistaken," said Perry. Is the feud real or just for show? Literally. Next up is Matt Damon. As a late night talk show host and an Academy Award winning actor, it's no surprise that the two Hollywood talents have crossed paths throughout their careers. But ever since Kimmel unleashed a random dig at Damon in 2005, the two have feuded for nearly 2 decades. During his show Jimmy Kimmel Live, the host made a tradition of closing out episodes with apologies to Matt Damon, but we ran out of time, even though the actor was of course never scheduled to come on the show. This is because Matt was a hot name at the time and Kimmel figured it would draw attention, and it did. The joke continued in September 2006 when Damon finally appeared as a guest. After a segment that explained the gag and a lengthy introduction by Kimmel, Damon sat down, only to have the host cut him off and end the show. As planned, the actor unleashed a flurry of curse words and proceeded to storm off the set. His performance was so believable, many fans thought he was truly upset. The two have had endless gags running ever since. But really, the only celebrity who has truly warned us about Kimmel is himself. Kimmel's been called out for derogatory comments, gender bias, racial bias, biasphobia, bias. He'll take accountability for some and apologize, but not all. If you ever wanted to see someone warn you about Kimmel, look no further than himself. The late night host once apologized for a series of past impressions he did of black celebrities. While you hear in the apology he takes accountability, he only knows that what he did was wrong because society told him so, not because he inherently thinks it's wrong to do so. I have long been reluctant to address this as I knew doing so would be celebrated as a victory by those who equate apologies with weakness. That delay was a mistake. There is nothing more important to me than your respect, and I apologize to those who were genuinely hurt or offended. That second line shows Kimmel only cares about public perception. He likes being the bad guy and saying dicey things, but he doesn't want to do anything that jeopardizes his fame. Listen to how he addresses the impact of his actions. "I've done dozens of impressions of famous people. I thought of them as impersonations of celebrities and nothing more. It is frustrating that these thoughtless moments have become a weapon used by some to diminish my criticisms of social and other injustices."